I've seen, oh, what a shame that you chose this. Yikes. The comments about TFMR have been rough recently. But I want to say no. My baby is not a shame. My TFMR is not a shame. I am not ashamed. But it took me some time and work to get here, and that's what I want to share with you today, what that's looked like and how I help others through this too. This is our TFMR stories. I'm Sabrina. I'm a TFMR lost mom to my daughter Clara. I had to end my wanted pregnancy for hydrops, cystic hygroma, potential chromosomal defects, and for my own health. And now I help other TFMR parents in their darkest hour, parenting through the impossible. If you're listening to this, you found me, and that means you're not alone anymore. You can talk to someone about this. Email me or book a call. I've been through it too, and I want to hear from you. So I'll be sharing how to handle the shaming comments. Whew, because, man, they have been a lot recently. So I was talking with a client recently, and she asked me, how do you handle these comments? How do you handle the shaming comments? And I answered her, and this is something that I want to share with all of you here too. And I'll also be putting this up on the podcast, our TFMR stories. So you'll be able to listen to the replay, the audio replay there. And if you're listening through the podcast and you want to join us here in the Facebook group, we're over at our TFMR stories. And you can join us by going to my website, thetfmrdoula.com/Facebook group, and you can join us in the group through that form. So back to the three levels of looking at and dealing with the shaming comments, because I posted in the group, I asked, does this statement feel true to you? I shame myself about my TFMR more than anyone else in my life. It might feel like the shame is coming from you. It might feel like the shame is coming from the outside. So feel where you even think that shame is coming from. I got a comment from someone, yes, more than anyone else I know in my life. Strangers on the internet feel very free to shame me, but I don't even know for sure if they are real. Okay, so there's the thing. A lot of these shaming comments, I think they're coming from bots, or they're coming from people who are very unhappy with their current lives. And this is the first level of how I deal with the comments. I deal with the comments by looking at it on a societal level. So this is coming from some religious indoctrination, some religious teachings that they heard somewhere, and now they feel emboldened to come on to our posts and say, you're a monster, or no, or don't do that. And I realized that these comments, they have a flavor to them. They're like little tantrums because we're parents talking about our babies that we love and grieve and remember. So, when you're talking to mother, the only thing that you can do is no, and scream and ah. So really remember that our love, our remembrance, our own situations really means so much more than any of those ideas, because they're just ideas. They're just ideas that people have about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And I've been thinking about this, how it's like they have these idealistic values, and yet we may have had those idealistic values before too. Like, oh, I would never do that, or I would continue the pregnancy, or I don't understand why people choose abortion. Like, many of us may have felt this before. I remember not understanding TFMR myself before I had to go through it too, before I was in the reality of it. Once you're in the reality of it, you find yourself not living your idealized values, you live your embodied values. So this is what you really do in the moment to live your values. And you may find that your embodied values are different from these high and mighty, hypothetical, idealistic, what you should do, not even being in that situation, or having the doctor tell you the baby has no skull, the baby has 1% of a brain, or the baby has no kidneys, is not producing any pee, is not producing any amniotic fluid, so the lungs will not even become lungs. They will suffocate. They will die gasping for air upon birth. What are your embodied values in that moment? And that's the place that we're coming from. So this societal level of these shaming comments is coming from these little tantrums that people are having when they would do the same thing too. You know, between 60% to 90% of these sick pregnancies, these devastating prenatal diagnosis pregnancies, people do choose to end the pregnancy. And let's just say, all right, let's just say we were even like the 1% of people who choose this. Let's just leave aside the fact that we are in the majority. Let's leave that aside and say that, all right, it doesn't happen that often, which it does. But let's just say we were the 1%. We're still living our embodied values, finding out the information that we have and making the decision that we did and choosing what we did. And then these shaming comments. So I think back to, you know, like, where in society is this even coming from? And that's helped me a lot to see them as what they are, not a truly accurate judgment, or not a truly accurate shaming of me, of who I am, but a tantrum from these people. I also want to mention Giselle Pellicot and what happened to her in France. So you may know about her case. It got very famous because she decided to go very public after she was raped by, I don't know, dozens, was it like 70 men through her own husband, setting it all up. And then the trial, she went public on the trial. She has since written a book, and this is also what she has gone on to go and speak on and talk about, this fact that shame must change sides. And oh, this feels like very fitting for our situation too, because you're coming into my grief and honoring and healing community and my TFMR story comments, and you're having a little hate rage tantrum. Honestly, the shame needs to change sides. This is the second part, the subtitle of her book title. Shame must change sides. Honestly, I see more shame in those comments and those people who are coming and having their little hissy fit on our like pregnancy loss stories. So that is one way that I have been working with the shaming comments. The other two are more inner. So there's like the societal level, and then the second level is this personal level. The third level is even more personal. It's interpersonal, but I'll get to that. So so the second level is this personal level, going back to my story, my inner feelings. And this can be hard, right? Because you know, we've been talking about this in the group. I've been asking you questions about shame and how you feel it shows up for you. Here's another one from another member. I truly am my own worst enemy. I have genuine compassion for others, but can't always find it for myself. I was in my late 30s, so time wasn't on my side for my husband and I to have our final child. 4 years and 5 miscarriages, between 8 and 12 weeks, 4 surgeries, 1 natural loss at home. Then finally I fell pregnant with my T21 little boy and made it to 20 weeks plus. The voices of others theoretically play in my head. If you so desperately wanted another baby, then why did you choose not to carry on the pregnancy? If you were that desperate and tried for years, you'd have taken any baby, disability or not. And I've fallen pregnant in the last 2 years since. And the voice in my head tells me it's punishment and a consequence of my actions, when in reality, I'm now 46 years old. So the shame story and our like inner stories and our inner feelings come into play so much after TFMR. It's that layer that I was just talking about, the like outer judgy, and also just remember that like they're a small percentage. Most people are kind or neutral on our situations, honestly. Like they really don't care. They're worried about like how they're going to pay rent, or how they're or you know, if their wife is going to have sex with them tonight. Like they're worried about other things. And you know, a lot of people have like live and let live, and like that sounds like a horrible situation. I'm sorry you went through that. Most people are like that. But this tiny fraction, they're very loud and they're very angry, and then they can get inside of us, and then that can turn into our own inner voice, right? Like, if you so desperately wanted this, or like I must have deserved this for something I did, that like inner shaming, that inner voice. I want to say that shame, it's this really, really hard one. It's so sneaky, it's hidey. So you may not even know that that's what you're feeling or experiencing as shame. Even the word itself, sometimes I'm like, ew, no, shame, no, that's not what I'm feeling. Like you hear the word shame and you're like, no, I don't feel that. So some of these symptoms of shame might feel like dark, amorphous, like you want to look away, you want to run away from this sensation. Like I feel it, like clenching in my heart. I don't know if you felt this too, or if it shows up in a different way. Try and think of how it shows up for you. Or it might bring up other stories. Like shame is so storied. It's like heavy on the stories, like in this one. Like in this comment, you know, the stories of what other people say, and my story, and my age, and this, like, oh, shame, like it has all these stories, and then it tells you another story, and then it tells you another story, so that you're like just looking at the stories, not what's underneath. So this is the layer that I try and get to. This is the layer that I help my clients through. This is the layer that we work on in the grief circles. And our sanctuary is always open. We have a meeting tomorrow if you want to join us in that circle. And I'm also opening up the small group circles, the Ascend circles as well. So we have some people in the Wednesday group already. And I think okay, so we have the sanctuary link here. And I think the link to the grief circles is here in the comments as well. I'll put it in here for all of you if you want to check it out, because shame loves this. Shame loves the dark. Shame loves hiding. Shame loves the stories on top of stories. Like it grows and grows. It grows and grows and grows when the stories grow and grow and grow. Because it's almost like it has a hiding place in the stories. Another thing you might feel, this is mine too. You may feel like you actually want to vomit when you're feeling the shame, like literally wanting to vomit. It's a very vomity feeling, like ugh, like get it out, like ugh, like the shame is ugh, ugh, ugh. But when we look at it, when we talk about it, when we talk about it together, there's a relief, and it it has a healthier place to go. This is what we do in the grief circles. And tomorrow, Kate is doing the circle in the sanctuary, and she does an embodied practice because it's through the body, and the shame, like it hides in the stories in our body, it hides in places in our body, it hides in the like vomiting want to vomit feeling, it hides in the like it's not shame. I know I've felt that, like, oh gosh, I can't, ooh, shame, like I don't even like the word, like the word just feels, it feels heavy and it feels like a lot. And when I look at the inner layer, and when I look back at my own story, I like recenter myself on, how sick my baby was, our family's capacity, my other children, future children, my fertility, my body, and I start to feel more grounded. And shame is like, it's like the opposite magnet. It's like it'll like bounce off of that, because those are my true, real heart and love based stories, and my reality, and my love. And then those little comments, then they feel even more like like a little tantrum that I can just ignore, because isn't that what we're told? Like when a child is having like a tantrum, sometimes it's best to, you might sit with them, but this is if it's your own child, right? Like, we don't have to baby these people, we shouldn't. I block them and I delete those comments. Block them and I delete them. That's another way I deal with the shaming comments. And go ahead and do that if you wish to. I think there was another comment in the group. Let me see if I can find it too. About blocking someone. So the shame can come up in this way too. Let's see. This person said, this week I felt intense shame when I hit block on a disabled person who was harassing me in my comments. I feel like I'm supposed to center disabled voices, but the fact is, if I treat her like a human being and not like a token, I've got to kick her out for being an asshole. I still feel shame about it. Right? So very layered, very storied, very hidey, very like super hypothetical, idealized values versus embodied. Embodied is, I must protect my space. I must protect my comment areas. I must protect myself from harassment. Everybody has that to do for themselves, and that is what we must do. That is what we must do. I wrote back, that's so tough, and you can be an asshole with marginalized identities. Both can be true, but putting up with trolling is not something you need to do just because of their identity. Yes. So there again, we're on the like outer layer, the societal layer, and then our inner, our inner values. There's one more layer deeper that we go in the grief circles and in the sanctuary and in the one-on-one work that I do. And I want to share this with you because I feel like this is the most profound of all, and this is the one that really gets me to my center as well and helps me so much with the shaming comments. I connect directly with my baby, with this baby. On a soul level, on a remembrance level, on their essence level, on their spirit, wherever you believe your baby is, whether it's more of a how could I describe it? Like a scientific physics, matter is not created nor destroyed level, or if you have more religious or spiritual, some kind of afterlife, or the soul, or heaven, however you describe it. When I connect with my baby directly, all the noise, just noise. It's just noise. There's shaming noise, even my own inner noise. This is the one that calms my own inner shame the most. It's me and this baby. And my baby says, I love you. I've got you. You loved me through this. You still love me through this. Your baby says the same thing. It comes up again and again in the sanctuary. I do my monthly circle in the sanctuary is reading cards for us. So the babies speak through the cards and they share their messages with us. And they're this, like, you did your best. You did your absolute best. I'm so proud of you. I love you. When I connect on that level, it's like all those people can go and have their tantrums. I'm block and deleting. This is my baby. This is my relationship with my child, with their place in my family, and they cannot take that away from me. They can come and they can arrest me and they can throw me in prison, and I will always have that love and that connection with that baby. They can't take that from me. They can try with all these things that they're trying to do and all these shaming comments. They can try, but they don't. And that's the place where we are acting from through the TFMR, and then through our grief and connecting and honoring afterwards. That's the place. So we're like moving down the layers to get to the core, which is the baby. So through the societal noise, breaking through even the inner noise, down into the core, into this place with baby. I think I have some other notes here that I want to share from you. Oh, and another comment from someone on shame. So she shared, I'm thankful that in Canada, I think there is a bit less stigma because of our laws. Because of that, I turned the shame into advocacy. When I first started talking about our loss, I used the general pregnancy loss terminology for about the first month while I continued to grieve. About a month and a half after our loss, I shared a carousel post about TFMR and sharing that that was our kind of baby loss. This was the caption I included. This is one of the most painful things I've written, but the healing I will find will mend the hurt of putting it into words. If we hadn't lost our twin boys, I don't know if I'd still be here. With the U.S. presidential debate this evening and women's health and reproductive rights a large part of current politics, I couldn't keep this part of our story to myself. My story could be very different if I was living in many of the U.S. states. When we were given the fatal diagnosis for our twins, in the most compassionate and caring way by an amazing team, we were given the options of terminating the pregnancy or continuing the pregnancy. By trying to continue carrying our babies, I would be putting my life at risk and our babies would still not survive. There was a 0% chance of a different result. Faced with that choice, there is no choice. Not when you have living babies, not when your babies are going to die and will only experience unimaginable pain if they continue to grow. And there's not another damn person on this planet who should make that choice other than me. I'll live with the trauma of losing the babies I want to love so badly for the rest of my life, but no one else should get to have that right. And I'm incredibly grateful to have had, this is a link to H. Wilson, California, by my side through it all, taking it all out together, but supporting every decision I made along the way. I wonder if that's a friend, spouse. And then the end. My body, my choice, and I'll live the rest of my life loving and missing who our babies could have been. So this is getting to the core. This is getting to the core connection with these babies, with this baby, with this pregnancy. Connecting directly with them. And then the loss and the shame and the story and the layers of story on top of it all. Because these are your babies. This is the awful heartbreak that you have had to go through. And it is one of the worst things that you can go through in your whole entire life. And if you've ever needed support for anything in your life, it's great to get support for the worst thing you've ever been through. You deserve that support in the worst thing that you've ever been through. So I'm just so thankful for all of you here in the group, those of you who listen on the podcast, those of you who are in the sanctuary, those of you who are joining into the inner groups in the grief circles. And I am here for you. I am here to help you work through these levels to get to your core as well, to get to your core connection with you and your baby, so that you can live from this place of deep, it's like deep divine strength that comes from, like, it comes from them, but it also comes from the universe. It comes from the everything. It comes from, like, Mama Bear, the essence of being. And you can live from that place, and connecting in these circles and sharing our stories and sharing our strengths and sharing the ways that we've felt shame, seen shame, maybe see shame, worked through shame. It's all so helpful, and I will keep making these places and spaces and groups for all of you so that we can continue to work together, because that's what they don't want. They don't want me to shine a light on it. They don't want me to, usher us into our healing, so we can then make posts like this one, and share our stories and tell our truths and share our love for our babies.